Hey, if you've been asking yourself what are the top 5 places around Charleston to live, today we're going to cover it. If we haven't met Jeff, Greg, and Mark Klim with Charleston Area Living. Mark, you've been working more on this list than me. I agree with your decisions on what you come up with. Tell me what you broke down with.
Yeah, not only are we going to talk about our top 5, but probably what a lot of people research too. Now, if we're going into our specifics, they may be a little bit different than this list, I would say.
Yeah.
But we're going to get into it because here's where people want to live when you are living around Charleston for sure. So we're going to kind of start our way in from the coast almost. And you know they're in no particular order.
Okay, so we're not starting from like highest price point to lowest, or just the top 5.
Just the top 5, and obviously the closer you are to Charleston, the better it is. Unless your lifestyle you want that lifestyle to be different. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're feet in the sands, the first couple are gonna definitely be your cup of tea. If you only have to be feet in the sands, once a month or less, then you're going to want to wait till the end on this one for sure. So stick around.
And some of those are dependent on where you work also.
Yes.
That's there's a big difference if you work at Summerville, Mount Pleasant, over in the islands. And we can help you figure that out. But isn't it funny how just really price-wise, the closer to the water, the higher the prices?
It is. There's one that's a little bit of a shocker in here for me as far as price-wise that is super close to the city. So we'll save that for the second one. But the first one that everybody wants to be and everybody talks about is Mount Pleasant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mount Pleasant, super close, right over the bridge from downtown Charleston. A very suburban type area. Mm-hmm. You've got everything from Trader Joe's there to Costco to Walmart's. You've got everything that you could possibly want in Mount Pleasant. Now, there's two main zip codes in Mount Pleasant, 29464 and 29466. So when we talk about any stats for Mount Pleasant, those are the two areas I kind of combined to get that. Now, I kind of looked at from October 1st to now as far as average price point and things like that.
So we have like a 6-month window here, 6 months.
5 or 6 months, because I wanted the most recent information to where we are right now. So there were just over 2,300 homes sold in Mount Pleasant. There 65% of the homes that go on the market are sold within the first 30 days.
Yeah, so it's a sought-after place. People are waiting for specific houses sometimes to come available.
Yeah, and there's only one or really two other areas that tie that out of our top 5. So definitely want it. Now, average price point is definitely up there, though.
Yeah.
We're over 1 million. Not quite 1.1.
Yeah.
But we're over 1 million with a median of an 875. But I always like to talk about average price point because those are the true numbers that we saw, not kind of what's in the middle is what median.
Those houses too, with this, if you watch this channel much, you end up watching a lot of new construction that we do out here in the Summerville market, but that's not a lot of new construction down there.
There's not.
In fact, I think there's some moratoriums set in place now that in at least the one zip code, there's no more construction allowed.
Right. And Mount Pleasant has grown, and since I've been here in 1999, there were 2 lanes.
Yeah.
Highway 17 going through there. And now it's like 4 lanes plus 2 lanes on the outside of that for more local traffic.
Yeah.
So it's extremely different than it was 25 years ago for sure.
And outside of the close to the sand, why? What do you think why would somebody want to live in Mount Pleasant outside the beach?
Yeah, if you work downtown, you work in one of the hospitals that are over in Mount Pleasant or downtown.
Yeah.
People love the schools down there. We're, as realtors, we're not going to talk about crime or schools, but you can go on like schools.net.
Yeah.
You can see that they have good grades on those websites and all. So they like that. And, it's just super close to downtown. There's everything to do right down there.
And some of the, easy access to like Shem Creek, some of my personal favorite
Love
restaurants.
Shem Creek, right?
We've got a 100% success rating for seeing dolphins anytime I've ever taken somebody and sat waterside at Shem Creek for lunch or dinner.
How cool was the catamaran that we went out on
Yeah.
from there?
Yep.
And we took like a dinner.
Bunch of
sunset
bars,
cruise.
restaurants right on Shem Creek. And Shem, you hear Shem Creek, and if you haven't seen it, it's a little misleading, but it's only, 100 yards or so to get out into the channel and out into the harbor, basically, in Charleston.
Yeah.
So great boating, fishing, shrimping. One of the cool things that's down there, I've never done it, but is the paddleboard.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people love the paddleboard because dolphins swimming all around you. It's cool.
Yeah. And then, of course, it's super close to the beaches, right? So Mount Pleasant connects to both Sullivan's Island and Isle of Palms. Isle of Palms is probably one of the most well-known beaches besides Folly Beach in the Charleston area for sure. So that's super nice. And a lot of people exercise down there. They walk over the bridge and run over the bridge and bike over the bridge because it's got this huge wide lane that goes, right over to downtown.
It's definitely a different feeling, a different vibe than being out in Summerville or some of the other areas that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So I would say that is probably the most sought after. The next one is on the other side of Charleston, which is West Ashley. So it's still Charleston, but West Ashley is west of the Ashley River.
Is that why they named it that?
I think that's why they named it that.
I think you're right.
So there's two zip codes that are primary for there. It's 29407 and 29414. The 07 is more closer to the city.
Okay.
The 14 is a little bit closer to the back way to get onto Johns Island or heading down 17 towards Ravenel and that area. This area kind of surprised me on price point. The average price point was $547,000.
Well, I think one of the reasons why, and I bet we end up seeing this in some other areas around town, is that these are smaller, older homes in a lot of West Ashley.
Yes.
So, the behemoths that we find a lot of in Summerville, the 3,000 square foot houses, West Ashley is a lot more 80s and 90s built, and they're going to be a lot closer to 2,000, 2,300 square foot range.
Yeah, you're going to have to probably go in there and do some updates.
Yeah,
like you're not going to be able to get away with a fully renovated house at 547.
No, you're right, and they do have a lot of ones that have been flipped down there, but we see those getting up closer to the 6s and 7s when they're like that. Yeah.
It's really cool though because of all the maturity of those areas.
Yeah.
All the older trees and the oak trees and just driving around the neighborhoods, the bigger yards than you see in the new construction and all of that.
A lot of character, still a lot of great restaurants and bars and shops around West Ashley.
Yep.
One of the best, I would say, most centralized locations. So it's not a terrible drive to get from there to Isle of Palms Beach,
right,
or into downtown, or over to the islands, or even you've got a good head start to get all the way out to Folly if you're there, and then actually come up through the plantations and you're back into Summerville. So it's probably the most centralized of all the areas we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I know a lot of some of the college kids live down there, just because it is a little bit cheaper on the rent, and things like that. And then, like you said, Folly Beach is probably the closest beach to West Ashley, even closer to the Isle of Palms.
Yeah, probably by a few minutes. Yeah, a little bit.
Just 5 minutes or so, probably. But they were also 65% of the homes that go on the market there sell in less than 30 days.
Another sought after area. It's with that one. It's really about the location. People that love West Ashley really love West Ashley.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 3, I think is James Island. James and Johns Island, really. Let's combine those together. I pulled the stats for both because a lot of local people will say, oh, I don't want to live on Johns Island. I want to live on James Island because it's closer to the city. And it probably does have more restaurants, more things built up. As you get away from the city more, things just hadn't developed as quickly as they have in James Island, in Johns Island. I did a paper route in Johns Island back.
Did you really?
Yeah. when Riley was first born. So this is 2003, 2004.
Back when people actually read newspapers.
Yeah. And I would travel all the way out to Kiowa in Seabrook Island to do a paper route as my third job.
He's such a hard worker. Look at this man getting it done.
And there was nothing then. It was crazy how, like, there's the Piggly Wiggly was there in the center of town and a couple of fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
And that was it. So
I struggled when I first moved here to, so it goes Charleston and then James Island and then Johns Island. And I could never keep straight which one was first and second. But Andrea told me James, J-A, and it's the J-O for John. So just go alphabetically, whatever's closest to Charleston.
Yeah.
That's really not important that you know that. It just was in my head. It decided to come out.
But even though James Island is more developed, you would think it would have a higher price point. But because there's so much new construction going on over in Johns Island, Johns Island is right now the average was pretty close to $993, $994, where James Island was $692. And again, I think it goes back to those older homes.
I think you're right.
And the homes are bigger over on Johns Island because they're not as old.
The newer homes have trended towards, being closer to 3,000 square feet than 2,000 square feet. The one thing I do like, and I personally like the newer homes.
Yeah.
But the one thing I like about what mostly we have in Johns versus James is I don't love crawl spaces.
Yes.
And so that's where a lot of now listen, don't be afraid of crawl spaces, but I think you need to pay attention to them. And that's a lot of the homes that we see on James Island has the crawl spaces. And if I ever had one, I would get it encapsulated and vented and all that stuff and be more comfortable with it. But the newer ones out on Johns Island are a lot more of them on slabs. And actually both of those areas have a lot of homes in and out of flood zones.
Yes.
That's going to be a big thing that we want to check on, because the wrong house on a high flood zone in that area, you could be looking at an additional $3,000+ a year in flood insurance, and right down the street it could be a no flood zone.
Yeah. Now James has Folly Beach on it basically, so if you have to go through James Island to
right
get
up to it
to Folly Beach, so obviously you're quicker to the beach there. You're also quicker to downtown there. It might take you anywhere on James Island probably 15 minutes to get downtown. And then if you're coming from Johns Island, you're looking at least 20 because you got to come over that bridge and come through James Island.
Yep.
And really, if you're down by Kiowa and Seabrook, you're probably looking at 30, 35 minutes
that's
to
a
get
trek
downtown.
But that Kiowa area, Seabrook, is absolutely gorgeous. And living in these parts of towns gets you pretty quick access to get over to Kiowa, and they've got all kind of beaches over there. And now, so can anybody go to those beaches? You just have to pay to get through the gate?
So Kiowa and Seabrook are both gated. Seabrook has its own beach. Kiowa has beaches beyond the gate, but a lot of people don't know there's one beach before the gate of Kiowa.
Okay, so that's
that
the
is
one to go
an
to.
actual state park.
Okay.
And it's a little bit more family oriented, I would say. Not a lot of parking there. So if it's a holiday or a weekend, you got to get there early. Or if you go in, during the weekday or maybe the off season, you'll be fine. But when you come up to the first gate, there's two gates on Kiowa. When you come up to the first gate, there's a little country store on the right, and if you turn right before that country store, that'll take you right down to
I've been
park.
down there, and I just got lucky that the one time I was there, I was like the only one on the beach.
Oh, it's
there
gorgeous.
was nobody there.
Yeah.
Very nice beach. Very deep sand.
Yeah.
Not deep.
When the kids were
walking.
little, we would go there versus the other beaches, and make it was almost 50 minutes from Summerville. Make that trek just because we like that beach so much.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's Johns and James Island. Johns Island had the 993. James Island had the 692 average. But just to show you how much more people want to be in James versus Johns, less than 30 days, 65% of homes sold on James Island.
Yeah.
For Johns Island, it was down to 52%.
So John's was. Wait, you're saying James sold faster than John's, or John sold James sold
faster.
I think it's just being close to the city.
Yeah.
It's if you're on James and you're working downtown, that's a really nice, easy drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, if you have to get over to West Ashley, let's say you were working in West Ashley or Ravenel, Johns Island would actually be a better place to live.
Yeah.
Because you can go out that back way through Johns Island. You don't have to go through James Island and all of that.
And things are moving out there past Johns into Ravenel quite a bit. So there
yeah.
are a lot of jobs out there and more coming. So Johns may make great sense for somebody that's working over in that side of town.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Number 4 is Daniel Island.
Yeah, beautiful.
Gorgeous, right? Like it's just its own little...
It's its own world. Yeah, you're right.
Right? I mean, there's only one grocery store there.
Yeah.
It's actually being shut down right now.
Oh, really?
They're doing a huge remodel or something like
Okay.
that. But people are actually going to have to go off of Daniel Island to go grocery shopping. So on
That's
their way home
not
from
gonna
work.
make them. And a lot of them that are on there are going by golf cart.
Yeah.
It's a very golf cartable community. There's some,
What is it,
some
5
amazing
miles
country
total?
club there. Yeah, it's not big.
It's not big.
So the Credit One Stadium is right there.
Yes.
So that's
Concerts, the tennis.
tennis. It was originally, it's a tennis stadium that's used for a lot of concerts, right?
Yeah, well, they revamped the whole stadium in order to attract more concerts to there.
They've done it. Andrew, we don't go to many concerts, but Andrew, the girls went to one down there.
Oh yeah, it's a great place.
Easy parking.
Now it is outdoors.
Yeah, they actually did get caught in the rain for a little bit. Some of it's covered, some of it isn't. But really easy access. Easy access from the highway and then also parking.
And they've got great restaurants down there.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
So good food. And there's quite a few tech companies there.
I didn't know
Like
that.
Sean Jenkins, he doesn't own that company anymore, but he started his big company over there. I can't think of the name of it now. But that was software for healthcare industry and signing up for benefits and things like that. And then Blackbaud is over there.
Yeah.
They're a big local employer.
Well, that Daniel Island has one thing that we lack some of in this market, and that is high-end luxury condos.
Yeah.
So they've got some newer condos over there, elevator buildings, some of them with fantastic views of the water. Really high-end stuff. And we have some of those downtown also in downtown Charleston. But there's some beautiful condos there in Daniel Island.
Yeah, so Daniel Island had about 796 homes sold since October 1st. Now, the volume is down because it's just not as big of an area.
Yeah,
right?
there's just not that many for sale.
So you're going to have to pull out your wallet for this one, though.
Yeah.
Your average price point is just under $1.3 million.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's kind of a very elite, separate, it's its own little world.
Yeah. And 57% of homes are sold within 30 days. The average actual
I
days
believe
on
that.
market was nine days on market.
Yeah, I can see that. People, if you're looking to be on Daniel Island, it's very specific, and as soon as the thing comes up that you want, you're going to jump on it.
Yeah. Golf course over there. It's just gorgeous for sure. There's actually a ferry over there too. Did you know that goes over to the downtown?
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
I want to go on a ferry
Right?
right now. Let's stop this video. Go for it's raining today. Sunday day we'll go.
All right, the last one, the one we talk about the most on all of our videos is Summerville, right?
Yep.
So there were, listen to this number, 6,562 homes sold since October 1st. The highest from that was Mount Pleasant with 2,300. So almost 3 times the amount of homes sold in Mount Pleasant we sold here.
And I'm guessing about a third of the price.
Yeah, pretty much spot on. So our average price point was $412, while Mount Pleasant was just over $1 million.
Yeah, I think the reason, we see Summerville as the big area to be in the Charleston market right now for lots of reasons that you've seen on this channel 100 different times.
Yeah.
But just the proximity to be down to all that stuff if you want to be close, get to the beaches, but yet be a little bit pulled back from some of the traffic into downtown.
Yep.
Lots of new construction, lots of amenities, lots of parks, lots of restaurants now. All the cool stuff from downtown has moved out here to Summerville. And so that doesn't surprise me that we're selling 3 times the amount of houses as in Mount Pleasant.
Yeah. Now, if you have a 9 to 5 and you're working downtown, those other 4 areas are going to be much more superior lifestyle for
Yes,
you.
yes.
Because you won't be sitting in the car as long for sure. But if you don't have to be downtown every day or during drive time hours,
Yeah,
I would still choose Summerville
I would too. Yeah,
Just-
well, I did.
just to have money in my pocket.
Yeah. If I had to work downtown, you're right, I would be in one of those other areas. If I was a 9 to 5, if I was going to a hospital off hours, something that might be different. And the drive from here downtown is sometimes as little as 35 minutes. But an accident on 26, which is the main road to get down to Charleston, kind of screws up your day a little bit. And so that's why we always say, if you're going to work down there, we probably want to pay attention to some of those areas. If you don't have to be going downtown, man, the bang for your buck, the value by far is in Summerville.
Yeah. And Summerville still has so much to do, right? So downtown has all the awesome restaurants, but now we're seeing some of those downtown restaurants come up to where we're sitting right now into Nexton. So we've got your Hall's Chop House, we've got Poogan's, we've got Page's.
Yeah.
All of those restaurants that were only downtown for as long as I've lived here. If you wanted to go out, for a special event,
Yeah, you were heading downtown.
you were
before.
heading downtown, and now you don't have to.
My family, if we didn't want to go to some place really specific, and ours is typically going to be Shem Creek. Outside of that, we really never leave this Summerville, Goose Creek area. Everything that we do in our lives is really right here.
Unless you go into the airport, to a concert on Daniel Island maybe, or over to North Charleston Pack.
Yeah, Coliseum
Arts
or
Center.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Or down to the beaches.
Yeah, everything else is really here.
It really is at a much better value.
Yeah. The other things in Summerville that, maybe some of the other areas we talked about don't have are all the plantations, right? Highway 61, you have 3 different plantations there. Also, right next to Summerville, probably, not in the top 5, but areas that other people like to live is Monk's Corner, is Goose Creek, is Ladson, Ridgeville. All of those are up in this area. And people don't realize how big Somerville alone is, though. I mean, it goes across 3 different counties.
It does. In my life, I live in Summerville, but actually I'm across the Goose Creek line. So a lot of my life is spent in Goose Creek because the Home Depot is just as far to the Goose Creek as it is for me as to get to the one in Summerville.
Makes sense.
And there's a lot going on in Goose Creek in the way of parks, new rec centers, concerts and parades, and all the community stuff goes down. So I really have it great in that, and you also, that you're really close to both Summerville and Goose Creek. And then Monk's Corner is just a whole different thing. Like
Yeah.
there's, if you're looking for more, bigger properties, we're probably going to be heading out into Monk's Corner quite a bit. There's still some great new construction neighborhoods in both Goose Creek and Monk's Corner. But up in Monk's Corner, we've got the whole lake. So we've got Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion for all the boating, the fishing, the kayaking, all that stuff. You're pretty centrally located for it.
Yeah. So these were our thoughts on, kind of the top 5 areas around Charleston to live. If you want to know more, down in the description, you can click on that link, book a Zoom call with us. All our other contact information is down there too. So feel free, if you're not a Zoom guy or a Zoom girl, you can definitely call or
Zoom
text
guy
us.
and Zoom girl.
But we love to do Zoom calls just so you can see us, we can see you, and we can kind of get to know the lifestyle that you want to live here. We would love to help you. One thing, Jeff, if they do come in town, we would rather them contact us than not, though, right?
Yeah, definitely book a Zoom with us ahead of time. And even if you're not looking to move here for another year or so, do the Zoom now so we can be sending you listings for the neighbors that we kind of decide that together that might make sense for you. You never want to go into any of these new builders unrepresented. There's really no downside to it. We can talk more about that on the Zoom call. And also on Tuesday nights, check out our live every Tuesday at 7. If you just have a couple questions, jump on there, ask them, and that's it. I got one question for you.
Yes.
If all the areas were the same priced,
Yeah.
where would you live?
All the areas were the same price.
So there was no difference in price. You could have your house in any one of those areas. which one would you pick? And the reason I ask is because Andrew and I were down in Mount Pleasant the other day, and we were discussing this exact scenario, and we said we just love Summerville so much that I would actually pick to be in Summerville.
Yeah, I would think, I don't know, maybe Daniel Island. No, I think I would stay in Summerville too.
I feel like Summerville is the full package.
Yeah, you got everything right here.
Unless you're dying to be at the beach every day.
Or on water, and you're a saltwater boater, not a freshwater boater. That would be the only reason. Yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.